Oh, you're kidding me. Hello. Oh, pop-ups. Oh, you and your one take rules, Rob Deb. Okay. Hi, I'm Rob Deb, and welcome to a Book at Deb time. Today we're discussing the writer's voices selected from Carrie, Stephen King. So this is an abbreviated version of Carrie, scenes from Carrie. Tells the story of Carrie's last days in high school when her classmates pull their worst trick ever. Carrie strikes back with the full force of her deadly powers. Selected from Carrie contains selections from Carrie, a short biography of Stephen King, a short history of horror books, and much, much more. Now, I've not read Carrie since I bought it during my first week at Chestnut Grove. I was 11 and they were having a book sale to try and encourage readers. For whatever reason, however it got there, it was part of this pile in Chestnut Grove's school library. It was the sort of silver lettering and the white that was very much the Stephen King brand in 1987, and it was Carrie's face covered in blood. So it's the denouement already. I read it having very, very limited knowledge. I didn't know about periods and thought I might have one, frankly. Um, it was quite a striking book at the time for me. I'm a boy. I was in a mixed gender school, but we had so many boys. We had to have all boys classes. Otherwise, there'd be just one girl in a class, and that would just not happen. So, how does this work? This is the first time I've read one of these of a book I've already read. It works really well. I don't quite know, in fact. It's trying to actively engage you with the reading. And what I really liked about it is most of the stuff at the beginning is look, don't worry about the word. Don't get stuck on a word. Read the sentence, give the context, which is key to how you learn these things. Other things like a map of the town really help as well. It again, these are all visual aids. Now, in terms of whether or not this is the best book to learn about reading from, though, it's very difficult because, particularly once you get into the denouement and the psychic powers, Stephen King's, they have retained his staccato sort of writing, particularly in how her powers help her see through the showers and so on. She paused halfway up the stairs and flexed. The doors all slammed shut under the concentrated force she directed at him. The pneumatic door closers snapping off. She heard some of them scream, and it was music, sweet soul music. It's frightening how much she loves it, and also how much this is willing to challenge a reader. In fact, I actually found reading this, given the fact that I haven't read this since I was 11, um, actually quite reminiscent of my childhood. I got a lot of bullying. A lot of it was vicious, and a lot of it I internalized. It's only really later you think about how that affects how you behave afterwards. I do remember the main thing being the phrase "Batty Man," because my name is Robin, and it was obviously not. Like when you're kind of an other, it's all about trying to find the excuse for what you're doing. And if someone with my pale probation, then therefore it's not racism, for example. Or if someone isn't gay, therefore your assault on them can't be a problem because it wouldn't be homophobia. See, also, calling me Rubin wasn't a cheap excuse to, basically find a proxy for your issues. I was never issues. Anyway, Carrie burns down the whole lot, and I don't have a problem with that. So it asks the questions. What is interesting to you about the selections of Carrie? Did the events or people in the selections become important or special to you in some way? Write or discuss your answers. Well, here I am. And it also talks about how Stephen King, his words appeal to the reader's five senses. It talks about writing. It gets people thinking about writing. Got me thinking about writing. I'm a literature grad. I do my websites. I do the dappy dappies all the time. So it's really quite impressive when you consider the goal here is supposed to be, and also why do people read horror books? It's a very slim book. Yeah, it just covers that sort of premise to start people off. Highly recommend it. if you can. I would be more interested in these writers' voices books, if only to learn more about writers I haven't read. So yes, that's Carrie. But this is a grindhouse double bill of horror portmanteaus in its work, because we also have Oscar Wilde, Lord Arthur Saville's Crime. Now, it's a very difficult one for me to do. He was not blind. There's no real blurb on this. This is from the Little Black Book selection. So it's one short story, 50 pages. What I have to go on is this. He was not blind to the fact that murder, like the religions of the pagan world, require a victim as well as a priest. This story was first published in Lord Arthur Scavell's Crimes and Other Stories in 1891. My knowledge of Oscar Wilde is pretty autodidactic. By that, we've all been told looking at stars and so on. We know that he was good friends with Arthur Conan Doyle. They shared the same publisher. I know trivia about Oscar Wilde, and I've seen adaptations of many of these books. Blythe Spirit, probably most recently. Dorian Gray. I can be an avid fan, but no, I have read the story. Tell a lie, but it's been so long ago. Really enjoyed this. Really enjoyed the way he writes, the wryness, and there's an earnestness in which he is satirizing English culture here, particularly the upper classes. The premise here is Lord Arthur has his hands read by I can't even pronounce it. Sinis blah blah blah. Sinis handsy man. See, so not a chiropodist, a Sirenemes, Mr. Podgers, and he gets another one to confirm it. Now, apparently, he has the hands of a murderer. He is also, though, someone about to be betrothed to his lovely Sybil. Now, he decides that these handsy men are absolutely correct, and as such, he needs to kill someone before he marries her. Because the last thing he wants to do is be married to her and then kill someone, thus leaving her in scandal. So he can get away with murder, he can marry her. But he will not marry her until that has happened, because the handsy man has said so. It's quite absurd, but it's also the way he's able to bring the anxiety and the palpitations to Lord Arthur as he wanders around. And now, of course, I do. He's wandering around Oxford Street, Grenville Street, all the streets that I sort of know and work near. Murder, that is what the Shira Mantahansi man had seen there. Murder, the very night seemed to know it, and the desolate wind to howl it in his ear. The dark corners of the streets were full of it. It grinned at him from the roofs of the houses. There's a poetic element here where it's genuinely fear. And there is a genuine sense of his anxiety and his mental health deteriorating at the tapping of a telltale heart. It ends quite wryly and it ends quite similarly. I do think it's very much a comment on this whole new science, this spiritualism. And given that he's hanging out with Arthur Conan Doyle, who then literally started going to believe in fairies, does ask me some personal questions there. Is it worth a read? Definitely. These little black books exist again, much like the writer's voice, to give you that little moment. This is a lovely commute escape. And this price range, I believe they're probably like £1 or £2. I've done a few of them. Other penguin sort of shorts are available. And I think these as well are probably the formats that publishing should really be looking at. You're competing now with so much media, online, the ability to watch your TV on the screen while on the tube. Um, Short, sharp, well crafted stories remind people what literacy is about. And as a medium, as opposed to, say, an audiobook, audiobooks are reading to, yes, they require a certain level of attentions if you're going to engage with them. They are not synonymous. I would say that please do check out your short reads. Do check out your abridged editions. I think there's a snobbery towards them from people who aren't living the same time constrained lives as yourself. Um, and there is that middle ground that they come with these caveats of you knowing what you're doing rather than doom scrolling information and just being a sub-factoid. By reading in this way, even these passages of a short story, you are immersing yourself with a level of comprehension. It doesn't always have to be a fictional narrative. And I heartily recommend both the Writer's Voices series. This is anything to go by, and of course, the Penguin Little Black Book. So until next time, Manana Han hasta vista.